Web marketing versus app marketing. What's the difference? Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about some key differences between web and app marketing. I won't go too deep into every topic, otherwise the video would be way too long. Think of this as a high-level overview. Let's dive in. We'll look at how web and app marketing differ when it comes to market analysis, traffic attribution, delivery process, hypothesis generation and prioritization, A/B testing. Just a heads up, everything we're covering today is more relevant to B2C companies. For B2B businesses that don't rely on digital marketing and instead sell through partners or sales reps, traditional competitor analysis won't give you much insight. But if a B2B company is using performance marketing, there are still some valuable data points you can analyze using the tools we'll cover later on. Web versus app market analysis. Let's start with app market analysis. When you're looking at the data, don't forget to focus on the specific geographic region you're targeting. It can make a big difference. A good first step is identifying your key competitors. To do that, you need to understand your app's niche and the category or subcategory it falls under. This helps you assess market size, trends, and competitive dynamics. You can use several tools for competitor research. We'll walk through those a bit later. Market fragmentation. Understanding market fragmentation helps you see how many players are competing and roughly how the market share is distributed. If one company dominates the space, it's worth digging into why and whether it still makes sense to enter that market. On the other hand, if you notice there are no competitors or active players in the market, it's worth asking, is there a reason for that? Because if your product is truly innovative and introduces something entirely new, then the absence of competition might be expected. But if it's not a groundbreaking idea, the lack of competitors could be a red flag, possibly indicating low demand or a market that doesn't need the solution. Monetization models. Look at how your competitors make money. Do they use annual subscriptions, pay-per-use models, in-app purchases, ads, or something else? This can guide your own strategy. Market volume, revenue. Don't just look at total revenue. Pay attention to growth trends. A market with rising revenue signals momentum, while flat or declining numbers could be a red flag. Market volume, users. User volume often starts with app downloads, but what really matters is the trend over time. Is the user base growing or shrinking? If it's declining, figure out why. Is it seasonal, or are there bigger market shifts happening? Approximate LTV, lifetime value. You can estimate LTV using a simple formula. Approximate LTV equals total revenue divided by total downloads. Just keep in mind, it's a very rough estimate. This approach only makes sense in specific situations, like when you have limited data or just need a quick ballpark number. It doesn't account for things like churn, repeat purchases, or user behavior over time. Also remember, downloads do not equal active users, do not equal paying users. True LTV, lifetime value, is usually calculated per paying customer across their full customer lifecycle. In the app market, this kind of rough LTV estimate is more practical because there are tools and benchmarks available. On the website, it's much harder to get reliable numbers for comparison. Tools like App Magic and Sensor Tower can help you find benchmarks for LTV and ARPU, average revenue per user, in the app space. How much money are competitors making? Look at whether any players in the market are earning over $3 million. If the market is large and competitor revenues are growing year over year, that's a strong signal the space is healthy and potentially worth entering. For example, if you find a niche with 10 companies whose revenue consistently grows each year, that's a good sign the market has room for more players. You'll also want to assess how active the market is. One way to do this is by checking if any new players entered the space in the past year and managed to earn over $500,000. If new competitors are emerging and doing well, it usually means the market is dynamic and still has opportunity. Key traffic sources. It's important to understand where your competitors are getting their traffic, whether it's from Google Ads, Facebook, TikTok, or other platforms. When you're just starting out, you probably won't have the resources to advertise everywhere. That's why identifying the most effective traffic sources for your competitors can help you prioritize where to focus first. Other considerations: web to app flow and platform distribution. Keep an eye on smaller, but still important, details, like whether your competitors are using a web to app flow and which platforms they support: Android, iOS, web. In some niches, you might notice a stronger presence on Android or iOS. It's worth digging into why that is. It could be related to user behavior, monetization differences, or market-specific trends. So now, let's look at what tools can help you gather all this data. First, it's crucial to identify your app's category and subcategory. This will help you accurately analyze your competitors using tools like AppMagic. Once you know where your app fits, these tools can give you insights into market size, download volume, trends, and more. AppMagic, a competitive analysis tool for mobile apps, helps you explore market size, download volume, revenue estimates, and App Store trends. Sensor Tower offers insights into app performance, including downloads, revenue, user engagements, and ad intelligence across platforms. Meta Ads Library lets you view both active and inactive ads across Facebook and Instagram, useful for analyzing competitors' past and current creatives, ad formats, copy, and messaging. TikTok Creative Center, a hub for exploring top-performing TikTok ads and trends, great for studying competitor video content and creative angles. Google Ads Transparency Center allows you to see active ads across Google platforms, search, YouTube, display, helpful for reviewing competitor campaigns and messaging. Just like with apps, analyzing the web market requires the right tools. Let's walk through the most useful ones. When analyzing the web market, don't forget to factor in geography. For example, in tools like AppMagic, you can select specific regions or countries to focus your analysis. This is especially helpful when competitor strategies and user behavior vary by location. Who are your competitors? Identify the main players in your category. This is the foundation for any competitive analysis. Market fragmentation. Understand how many competitors exist and how market share is distributed. Market volume, revenue. Estimate the total revenue in the market and monitor its growth over time. Market volume, users. Look at user numbers, including downloads and active user trends, to assess whether the market is growing or shrinking. What are the conversion benchmarks in the niche? CPA, CPL, etc. Finding conversion benchmarks on the web is significantly harder than in the app space. Unlike the app market, there's no reliable tool that gives you approximate LTVs or allows you to track downloads or purchases. This kind of data is private and rarely shared with third-party platforms. However, if your competitors operate on both web and app platforms, you might be able to reverse engineer an approximate CPA from available app data. How to gather reliable market benchmarks is a complex topic. We won't cover it in this video. You'll need to get creative. One warning: don't waste money buying benchmark reports online. Most of them are low quality and lack meaningful or actionable data. Sometimes, business owners share benchmarks in podcasts or interviews, so it's worth keeping an eye out for that kind of content. Just keep in mind, finding accurate benchmarks takes time. It's a slow, manual process, but it can be valuable if done right. Who are the main players and what are their market shares? You can use tools like Ahrefs, SEMrush, and SimilarWeb to estimate market share. However, be cautious. Data from some free tools is often inaccurate or outdated. Always cross-check with other sources before drawing conclusions. Key traffic sources. Identify where your competitors are acquiring traffic. Search, paid ads, social, referrals, etc. This helps guide your own channel strategy. Platform presence. Do competitors operate on multiple platforms? Web, mobile? Which platform came first? What pain points does each platform solve for the user? This can reveal how they prioritize UX and feature sets. Business model. What is their core business model? B2B, B2C, SaaS, marketplace, etc. This shapes everything from pricing to go-to-market strategy. Monetization model. How do they generate revenue? Examples: subscriptions, pay-per-use, in-app purchases, advertising, or a mix. Tools for web, competitor, and market research. To analyze competitors, understand market dynamics, and identify traffic sources or monetization models, you'll need the right tools. Each tool serves a specific purpose. Some focus on app insights, others on web traffic, business data, or trends. Let's overview them quickly. Sensor Tower. Sensor Tower is typically known for app analytics, but it can also provide digital insights for web platforms, useful if your competitors operate across both. Sensor Tower also offers web insights like traffic sources and user behavior. Ahrefs, a powerful SEO tool used to analyze website traffic, backlinks, keyword rankings, and content performance. Great for understanding web visibility and content strategy. SEMrush, a comprehensive digital marketing platform for web SEO, paid traffic analysis, competitor research, and keyword tracking. Covers both organic and paid channels. Ahrefs and SEMrush are great for web competitor analysis, though Ahrefs has become quite expensive. SimilarWeb estimates website traffic, user engagement, referral sources, and marketing channels, useful for benchmarking web performance and analyzing how competitors acquire users. However, use caution when interpreting the data. Metrics from these tools can sometimes be inaccurate. Always cross-check with additional sources before drawing conclusions. Crunchbase offers business-level data on companies, funding, acquisitions, team size, and industry. Helps you understand the business background of market players. Perplexity AI, an AI-powered research assistant that helps you gather information quickly from multiple sources. Useful for exploring unfamiliar topics or validating assumptions. Google Trends shows real-time and historical search interest for keywords across regions and timeframes. Great for spotting demand shifts and seasonal trends. Once you've done the market research and competitor analysis, the next focus is execution, how your product actually gets built and delivered. Let's compare how that works on web versus app. The structure of teams working on app and web products is generally similar. The main differences are in the technologies used and some role-specific titles. For mobile development, common technologies include Swift, React Native, and Flutter. For web, you'll typically see JavaScript, Python, or PHP. Role-wise, you'll often find an SEO manager, search engine optimization, on the website, while apps usually have an ASO manager, App Store optimization. These roles focus on discoverability in different environments, search engines versus app stores. Let's now take a closer look at how the delivery process works for web products, and later we'll compare that with apps. Delivery process in web. Faster releases. Web products can be released instantly. There's no need to go through a review process like with app stores, where approvals can take days. Easy rollbacks. If a bug slips through, it's much easier to roll back a web release. Apps require going through the review process again, which delays fixes. User attribution. Attribution, tracking where users came from and how much they cost, is generally easier on the web. Apple's iOS 14 update introduced strict privacy rules, IDFA restrictions, making user attribution much more difficult in the app environment. Push notifications. Apps support native push notifications, which are highly effective for engagement. Web push notifications exist, but tend to be less effective and have lower opt-in rates. No App Store fees. Web products avoid platform fees. In contrast, app stores typically take a 15 to 30% cut of your revenue. Simpler conversion flow. On the web, especially in B2C, users can often see an ad and make a purchase in one session. With apps, there's friction. Users need to download the app, possibly delay logging in, and may not convert right away. That's how delivery works for the web. Now, let's talk about how things change when you're working with apps. Delivery process in app. Review delays. Every app update must go through a review process, which can take anywhere from a few hours to several days, slowing down release cycles. Harder to roll back. If a bug makes it into production, rolling back isn't simple. You'll need to submit a new version and wait for it to be reviewed again. Attribution challenges. Attribution is more difficult due to Apple's changes in iOS 14, with the introduction of App Tracking Transparency, ATT. Apps must get explicit user consent to track them using the IDFA, reducing data availability for performance analysis. Alright, so we've talked about how things get built and shipped, but how do you decide what to build in the first place? That's where hypothesis generation and prioritization come in. Hypothesis generation and prioritization, web versus app. There are many frameworks for generating and prioritizing hypotheses, but we won't go deep into them here. For now, let's focus on a basic structure for hypothesis generation. While the platform doesn't affect how you generate hypotheses, it's important to recognize that user behavior differs between web and app. For example, users who purchase on the web often follow a different flow and decision-making process compared to in-app buyers. Onboarding paths, session lengths, and friction points can vary significantly. Platform-specific metrics. The metrics impacted by a hypothesis can differ depending on the platform. Some KPIs are shared, e.g. conversion rates, while others are platform-specific. That's why it's essential to define which metric and what percentage change you're aiming to influence, and make sure it's relevant to the platform you're working on. The basic hypothesis formula. A clear, structured way to frame a data-driven product hypothesis is, if we make change A in place B, then it will influence the behavior of users C and lead to an increase/decrease in metric D by X% because rationale/insight/arguments. This format keeps your hypothesis measurable, focused on user behavior, and tied to a specific outcome. Structuring hypotheses this way helps clarify what you're trying to impact and how you'll track it. Since A/B testing is time-consuming and resource-intensive, prioritizing your hypotheses is essential. Prioritization methods. There are many ways to prioritize hypotheses and tasks. Here are some of the most widely used methods. RICE. Reach, Impact, Confidence, Effort. ICE. Impact, Confidence, Ease. Story Mapping by Jeff Patton. Value versus Effort Matrix. Cost of Delay, COD. Product Tree. These frameworks help product and marketing managers decide what to focus on next and why. We won't go into detail here, but you can easily find explanations and examples of each on the internet. A/B testing. Let's go over some tools that can help you run A/B tests. Growthbook, a flexible platform that supports custom feature flagging and A/B testing, useful for teams that want control over test setup and rollout. Amplitude, works for both web and app, mainly used for product analytics, but also supports experimentation and user behavior analysis. Firebase, focused on mobile apps. Firebase allows you to run A/B tests, split traffic, and experiment with different features or messaging. For both web and app A/B tests, you can use the Evan-Miller calculator to determine the required sample size. Calculating sample size is essential. It tells you how long your test needs to run in order to reach statistical significance, ensuring your results are reliable and not due to chance. That wraps up our overview of the key differences between web and app marketing, along with some of the core processes, tools, and strategies used in product management. We've covered everything from market analysis and traffic attribution to delivery processes, hypothesis testing, and prioritization methods. Remember, while many concepts apply to both platforms, the details and the metrics often vary. Understanding those nuances is what helps you make better product and marketing decisions. If you found this video helpful, feel free to like, subscribe, or share it with someone who might benefit. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.